Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people.
They murdered and raped civilians, they executed the elderly at bus stops, and they massacred young people at a festival. They may, it emerged last night, have even beheaded babies.
They found decapitated babies and toddlers.
Israel kills enough of these sons of bitches that this is not a problem against us. Whenever anyone suggests that Israel is willfully killing civilians, that is the most ignorant, bigoted, anti-Semitic bull ever said. There cannot be a ceasefire. Anyone who calls for a ceasefire is a terrorist sympathizer under these circumstances.
I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. I never thought I'd ever... Anyway,
Do you care about the babies that were beheaded?
No,
the babies
they were never beheaded. That was a made-up story.
How do you
Not
know?
true. It's show me the pictures now.
So what about
Show me the pictures. You're a lying full of You're full of
They bombed hospitals, schools, United Nations facilities, Red Crescent facilities, mosques, churches, civilian homes, evacuee convoys. They're literally bombing everything but Hamas inside of Gaza. And that's because their real effort is to force the Palestinian people out of Gaza and take over that land once and for all. Zelensky is using the Nazi Azov thugs in Ukraine to silence freedom-loving Ukrainians. Joe Biden in the United States, his cronies are prepping the CIA, the FBI, Antifa, the IRS, and now Ministry of Truth to attack freedom-loving Americans.
Demand not one more bullet, not one more tank, not one more piece of artillery, not one more dollar, not one more penny be sent to the Nazis in Ukraine. Demand peace. Thank you all for being here. Continue this energy.
Test, test. Oh, there we go. Now there's probably going to be an echo. Test, test. Oh, there we go. All right, we're good. We're good. I'm blaming that one on my cleaners. But it may have just been me. I don't even know how that had to have been like my cleaners or something. I don't touch this thing. This is so hard to even like take out. I don't know how that would have happened. When could I have done? I don't know. Whatever. Let's get into it. Sounds okay? Maybe I'm the problem. Anyways, so welcome to the stream. Now that we're here, that was retarded. So, anyways, what was I saying? Okay. Well, anyways, Happy New Year. Drop a like on this stream. Happy New Year. Subscribe, retweet, do all that good stuff. I'm trying to get it so we can stream on Instagram too, but we're having some not just tech difficulties with the microphone, but also with it's a bit hot. Well, anyways, fucking shit. It is a bit hot, you're right. I'm trying to get it so we can stream on Instagram too, but we're having some not just tech difficulties with the microphone. I think it's because I tried to add a bunch of microphones. I think it sounds better now, right? I think it's because I added. Yeah, we're better now. I think we're good now. We'll keep the mic a little further away. We'll fix it later. But anyways, Happy New Year. What a start to the new year. So anyways, I was in Arizona. I was in California. We did the Jimmy Dore show on the 30th. You guys are going to be seeing clips from that tomorrow on Jimmy Dore's YouTube show. It's a little intimidating to be on a stage with 4 other comedians, but we pushed through. And at first I didn't really want to talk, but then I think I got over my fear and I actually got some good laughs. So if you were there, thank you for coming out. I'm going to be doing some live shows very soon. I know I've been saying this for a while, but now that we finally did it, Jimmy walked me through everything about how to do a live show, how to set everything up, how to reach out to venues, everything like that. So Haas and myself, if you guys know Haas from the Infrared Show, we're coming to Michigan. Haas is in Michigan. We're going to do our first show in Michigan, I think. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe Minnesota, we'll do a few shows up there, but it's going to be good. Let me say a special thank you to all of you tuning in, everyone who supports us on X. You can donate to our show by subscribing to my X Premium, by donating to my locals using the join button below. And I also want to say a special thank you to our sponsor for tonight's program, which is the one and only Save Power Bills. So you can check them out using the link in the description of our stream tonight. Again, just click right down here where you can save up to 66% off on your Save Power Bills product. And let me tell you a little bit about Save Power Bills. Here it is. Save Power Bills is here to help you. So you probably noticed if you had, Christmas lights up and whatnot, your energy bills are through the roof. And also doesn't help that we've got a major energy crisis. Electricity rates are very high. The utilities are screwing over average Americans day in and day out. And there's really no one in sight. So if you need help with your energy bills or you're looking to save some money, which why wouldn't you? Save Power Bills is here to help. This little device, it's so simple. You just plug it in your wall and it helps stabilize electrical currents, reduce dirty electricity, and protect appliances and electronics. And when you click on it right now, the link in the bio, you get 65% off your eSaver Watt, okay? So click that link right now. Head over to Save Power Bills. They're the best in the business. They have thousands of 5-star reviews. Again, all you have to do is simply plug this little device into your home's wall outlet. Tens of thousands of families are already installing this magical little device to help slash their energy bills. And I don't see why you shouldn't either. I've got one in my living room. I got some Christmas lights up there still. I kind of like the Christmas lights. I might keep them up for a little bit. Okay, but if you order now, again, you'll receive 65% off fast shipping within the U.S., hassle-free returns, and last but not least, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee so you can actually see how your power bills are personally, positively impacted. That's savepowerbills.com. Order now, okay? So on that note, let's get into the program. See what's going on in this crazy world. I'm also, in addition to all the other shit that we started off this stream with, I'm a little bit under the weather, so it's probably not going to be a super long stream. But we are going to push through regardless because I've been gone for so long. I said I have to come out even though I'm sick. So I want to show you guys this too before we get into the very first story. This is kind of a mini story. So there's a new Palestinian startup that you can get on your phones right now. It's called Reds. This is not a sponsor. I just thought this was cool. Reds is an app that serves as a Palestinian challenger to TikTok, okay? Now, if you're one of the youngins who watches my content, you'd know that if you do have a TikTok or you follow people on TikTok, myself on TikTok, I've been banned. I've had like 7 different accounts banned. TikTok is censoring basically all pro-Palestinian voices, okay? Of course, they censored me when I talked about Ukraine as well, but now they're kicking it into high gear because the Israel lobby is very frightened about the number of young Americans who are being shown the truth about what's actually going on in this conflict on TikTok, okay? So there's a new app called Reds, R-E-D-Z, okay? And it looks like this, and it's the same exact thing as TikTok, but they're just not going to censor you. And it's actually, you know, if this was one of those random apps that no one's using, I wouldn't show it to you. But there was over 1 million downloads in the first week it launched, okay? And it's mostly like pro-Palestinian people. So it's a really good group in there. And again, there's people all the time that reach out to me, Jackson, can you shout out this new free speech app? Can you shout out this app, this app? It's like, well, Rumble, yes, of course, because they have proven they've gone up against entire governments to fight for free speech. You know, the French government calls them, can you ban this person, that person? Canadian government, can you ban this person? They say no, and we're going to sue you on top of it to fight for free speech. But this is one of those platforms that is just broken out. 1 million downloads in the first week. It's really incredible. Today, I shouted out Reds because I just made an account there. So I saw like 4 people say, Jackson, make an account. So I made an account. I shouted it out on Twitter and my Instagram. And we actually broke the app. So the app, I think within the next 30 minutes, they said it's going to be up and running because I was contacting the people that made the app. I said, hey, I just made an app. Can you verify my account? I made an account. Can you verify my page? And they said, you actually, when you shouted us out, you broke the app. So many people started to click on it. So it's going to be back up and running. So maybe like later today or tomorrow, go and make an account on that app because it's a bunch of really valuable resources about this conflict. And it's not just good to have it in that echo chamber, but also to take it elsewhere. Share that stuff, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you normally or previously were sharing your stuff and get the message out there. Okay, but that's a great app. I hope that they do very well. I hope they succeed. Again, not a sponsor. I just thought it was cool that they're doing that. Okay. So anyways, let's now get into this story because today we had some really shocking news. So Israel will tell you that they're just fighting Hamas. We're just fighting Hamas in Gaza, but of course we're doing like drone strikes and tear gas attacks in the West Bank. We're continuing to rip up the infrastructure, the roads, bulldoze homes in the West Bank. We're making new settlements. And now they're not also only bombing Syria because we've seen that time and time again throughout the war and, you know, before it began on October 7th, but also today they extended an attack. Israel extended an attack to the heart of Lebanon. Today they did a massive drone strike on Beirut. Now this is the first time in about 3-4 years that they've done a bombing in Beirut. Everyone remembers the last time, but this was actually a really big deal. Now, there were suspected Hamas members that were killed in this attack. Let's take a look. Lebanese media is reporting that an Israeli drone strike hit a Hamas office in Beirut, killing 4 people, including a senior Hamas official. If confirmed, the Israeli attack on the Lebanese capital marks a significant escalation and could provoke a major war. 4 people at the time of this writing were martyred, now I believe it's 7, and a number of others injured when the Hamas office was targeted in Beirut's southern suburbs. Now, the thing that you need to understand about this is the last thing that I think Israel really needs right now is Hezbollah to launch a second front from that end of the border on their troops, which would be in a they'd be in a boiling point, surrounded on both sides by Hezbollah, quite a few men. Okay, this is the last thing they need right now, but they're playing with fire. They're walking around with a lit match in a giant keg of gunpowder and explosives. This is like the dumbest thing that they could do if they want to avoid a war with Hezbollah, but that looks like maybe where we're actually headed given this recent attack. Again, let me show you. This was no small attack. Here's a shot from the heart of Beirut where this attack took place just over the past 24 hours. Here's a video. So this is a really big deal. Obviously, putting civilians in harm's way, probably killed and injured numerous civilians in this attempted attack. And the Israelis are trying to say that this was not them. The Israelis, who, by the way, have already bombed, Lebanon as a whole with white phosphorus shells. Civilians in Lebanon, they bombed with white phosphorus shells. They're trying to say, this wasn't us. We didn't do this drone strike attack on Beirut, killing Hamas, senior officials. That wasn't us. But look, when they tried to deny it on the mainstream media tonight on MSNBC, the Israeli spokesperson had a little bit of a Freudian slip and accidentally admitted that Israel was responsible as he stuttered through his defense as to why it couldn't have been Israel, who's in the middle of a war, who's already bombing Lebanon, who launched this drone strike on a target which was supposed to be Hamas leadership. Well, it was someone who clearly really did not like Hamas in the region. It was clearly someone very upset with Hamas. I don't know who it could have been, but clearly they were very upset with Hamas. I don't know. It could not could not have been us, but someone very upset. Take a listen.
Don't you expect that a strike in downtown Beirut might lead to a Hezbollah response and open that northern front, which of course Israel and the United States have been very concerned against a second front opening to the north?
So I think it's obvious. Obviously, in Lebanon, there are many Hezbollah targets, but whoever did this strike was very surgical and went for a Hamas target because Israel is at war. Whoever did this has a gripe with Hamas. It's, once again, whoever did this, it's not an attack on the Lebanese state. It's not an attack on the Hezbollah terrorist organization. Whoever did this, it's an attack on Hamas. That's very clear.
Don't you expect?
They don't want that smoke. They don't want that smoke from Hezbollah. It was not us, we swear. Someone very upset with Hamas. It was not us, we promise. Pinky promise. So, that's what we're doing. 2024, start off with a bang. We're saying full-blown regional war is... It's in the cards. It's in the cards. Now, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, this attack today would definitely lead me to believe that's, full-blown regional war. Hezbollah, Hamas, obviously, maybe Iran getting involved in this matter becomes all the more likely. Again, I don't bet on this stuff, but if you were a betting person and you could hypothetically bet on this stuff, this would be like the odds of a war taking place, full-blown regional war, dramatically increase. We'll probably see another statement from Nasrallah very soon, who knows, but an attack in the heart of Beirut, that's crossing a red line. And let's just say, I don't think Nasrallah is as forgiving as Putin. I don't think he's willing to forgive as many red lines being crossed as Vladimir, I can never say his middle name. Vladimirovich Putin. I don't think he's as forgiving. as Mr. Putin. So we'll have to wait and see. But, of course, praying this just comes to an end because, of course, let's just break it down. I've said this before, I'll say it again. What is in the worst interest of the Israeli citizenry? What is in the worst interest of the state of Israel? What is in the worst interest, definitely, of the Israeli military? Hezbollah getting involved. That's the worst possible scenario. They can barely muster up enough munitions, arms, and men and women and thems to go and actually deal with Hamas. Imagine if they had to deal with Hezbollah too. Wouldn't be good, but there is one person who benefits from the war continuing on, and that is Benjamin Netanyahu, of course. He would benefit immensely for this war to continue on for another year. So we'll see what happens, but we're heading in the wrong direction if you want peace. All right. So, let's take a look at this story. So, I couldn't believe this. Well, I kind of can believe it, but also it's always shocking. So, I was gone for the holidays. I missed out on the streams for about a week and a half, but the Israeli government put out a statement on Christmas Day, and they had some very choice words for Christians all across the world. They said, on behalf of the Israeli Defense Forces, we want to wish all those who celebrate in Israel and around the world a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So, the audacity of the Israeli military putting out a statement like this, I just can't. I can't. Now, why am I saying this? Because if you don't remember, right, just a few weeks ago, the Israeli military bombed the third oldest Orthodox Christian church in the world. Now, I'm an Orthodox Christian. I was appalled by this. Justin Amash, who's a U.S. senator, he had family members, Orthodox Christian family members, who were killed in this attack. So here's a photo of the Church of St. Periphas under 1,000+ years of Muslim rule. And here, of course, is the Church of St. Periphas under 75 years of Zionist occupation. There you go. It's in tatters and destroyed, okay? I mean, the day before Christmas, folks, Israel bombed a 600-year-old monastery in southern Lebanon. That was a day before Christmas Eve. They bombed a 600-year-old monastery the day before Christmas Eve. And then Christmas comes and they're like, hey, Merry Christmas to all our Judeo-Christians out there. It's good to see you. I hope you're having a good one. As they're literally bombing Christians, right? It's insane. It's sick. It's twisted. It is extremely blasphemous, but of course they don't really care about that because they believe that Jesus is boiling in a pit of human fecal matter. But that's their religion. So Hamas did take the new year to respond to these horrific attacks. Israel was very worried about this. They said, wait, these are not New Year's Eve fireworks. We have Hamas missiles firing into central Israel. I said, don't worry, those are just fireworks, don't worry. But no, I was wrong. It ended up being that these were actually Hamas rockets firing all across Israel. The moment that the clock struck 12, boom, there you have it. Of course, Gaza was being bombed all through the night and the next day, but the moment that New Year's hit, we saw this. A bunch of Hamas rockets firing into Israel. Those are not fireworks. Those are not New Year's Eve celebrations. Those are missiles being launched into Israel. So crazy stuff happening right now. The holidays saw, no time for peace, which is also just goes to show the barbarity of Israel, because usually in any war, It is usually even the bloodiest wars, like even in World War I, which was a horrific scene in the winter months of World War I, they stopped. They called for a temporary ceasefire. Putin put forward a temporary ceasefire in Ukraine, last year during the holidays. And, there was no effort for a ceasefire to be put forward here. I get that they don't celebrate Christmas, but you know what I'm saying. They probably don't celebrate New Year's either. But it's like, even in the midst of the world celebrating these holidays, they're still bombing Gaza day in, day out. Okay. And then they're crying the victim when Hamas launches one barrage of missiles back right on, New Year's Day. So, really crazy stuff, and fuck the Zionists wishing us a Merry Christmas. No, fuck you. I want to say thank you to Rafi68 for the Rumble Rant. Happy New Year, J-Man. Thank you so much. Aladdin J, thank you for the Rumble Rant. Appreciate you guys. Of course, you can support my show on Locals, on X Premium, Gibson, go all those places. Thank you so much. The volume changes when I move my mouse. Yeah, I got some volume issues today. We're going to fix that for the next stream. Sorry about that. Let's talk about this. So, this is quite something too. So, I'm sure many of you saw the news right before New Year's. South Africa decided to launch a proceeding at the International Court of Justice against the state of Israel under the Genocide Convention. Now, if there's a state who knows anything about overcoming apartheid, it's South Africa, right? So I was very happy to see South Africa come out and launch this proceeding against the state of Israel for their genocide in Gaza. But, part of me is also like, what took you so long? What took everyone so long? How are we 80 plus days into this genocide, 20,000 plus civilians killed, and no one has raised a finger? This is really insane, okay? Now, especially the regional actors, like all these Arab states and Turkey, it's like, why has no one done anything for the people of Gaza? It's actually criminal. But nonetheless, I'm still happy to see that South Africa took this bold and definitive step in history to call for, genocide convention proceedings against Israel at the International Court of Justice. Now, immediately when this happened, Israeli state officials came out and they said, "This is anti-Semitic. This is so anti-Semitic." This is actually a real quote. They said, South Africa is acting as a puppet of Hamas. They said that. Netanyahu's spokesperson said that South Africa is acting as a puppet of Hamas. I couldn't believe it, right? But then I started to put two and two together. I'm like, oh shit, they're actually worried about this. They wouldn't be saying this stuff if they weren't very, very worried about these criminal proceedings under the Genocide Convention, right? And that's now what we're coming to learn, because today, Haaretz, the Israeli state media, has reported that Israeli state officials fear International Court of Justice could charge Israel with genocide in Gaza. The International Court of Justice has great influence in shaping international law. Its recognition of South Africa's claim may cement the perception that Israel's committing genocide in Gaza, says Dr. Shelley Aviv Yaini, an expert in international law. Now, part of me says, this is just kind of like propaganda from the Israeli state, because obviously this will mean nothing in actually stopping the genocide. But part of me also is like, these people actually probably are pretty worried, because people like Netanyahu, I mean, he's so concerned about his career. He's so caught up in how he's perceived and maintaining his rule on power in Israel, something that a lot of Israelis don't even want anymore, that I think they actually could be worried about this, because it will serve as a very, very dark stain on their legacy as individuals. And of course, the state of Israel's legacy, but of course, specifically their own legacies. And when you are a self-centered, egotistical maniac who's willing to slaughter about 10,000 people per month, then yeah, I guess this would mean a lot to you. So we'll see where it goes. But the other funny thing, well, it's not, none of this is funny, but the other thing here is like, why is it that you're so worried about this, International Court of Justice condemning you and potentially charging you under the Genocide Convention for committing a genocide, if you are telling the whole world day in and day out that we're not committing a genocide? There's no genocide here. We were almost genocided on October 7th. So they always say this, and they're so defiant and bold in their assessment that there is no genocide in Gaza. But then the moment that someone at the International Court of Justice is like, maybe we should charge them under the Genocide Convention, they start getting worried. Well, I thought you got nothing to be worried about. If you're not committing genocide, then there's nothing to be worried about, right? Well, turns out, as always, the real criminals, they know they're lying, they know what they're doing, they know their crimes, and they're very scared to do the time. All right. I have an echo. Look, there's something wrong with the audio. I'll fix it for tomorrow's stream. But I don't know what to tell. Is it really that bad? Maniac who's willing to slaughter, but that someone overcoming a... Doesn't sound that bad. A lot of these rapists don't even want... None of this is funny. In their... I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sick. We have audio issues. We're still here fighting. Whatever. It's going to be a shorter stream tonight because I'm definitely sick. I don't feel good. So let's talk about this. Is it just when I click on the... Let me see if it goes. So is it just when I click on this? Let's talk about this. I know I need to take my booster. Yeah, it changes kind of when I go to this page. I don't know. I hate tech stuff. The real problem is all of the Indian tech bros have seemingly boycotted me. They're not helping me in my studio anymore because I called them out for being Zionists. Full support, sir! We love Tel Aviv! Beautiful women in Tel Aviv! Mi Hashem, we love you, Tel Aviv! Alright. So let's talk about this. So, the Israeli hostages are talking again, those that have been freed from Hamas's cruel grip. And just to show you how bad and how terrible their living situation was inside of Gaza, I want to share a few photos with you because this is one of the most noteworthy hostages that was kept by Hamas. This is the evil she had to endure while she was in Gaza. This is also why she believes there are no innocent civilians in Gaza. Take a listen. She says, when I was in Gaza, there was a child who opened a bag and gave his father some candy. Then the child came over to me, opened the bag, closed it, and left before she could get any candy. Pure evil. There are no innocent civilians there. Families there live under the Hamas. You'd think that if they're trying to justify a whole genocide, like they could do a little bit more than a kid played a little joke on me. Like, I did worse jokes than that when I was a kid. And thank God I wasn't genocided by the state of Israel for it, right? But also, just to show you how much of a lie everything that people like this hostage say is regarding the evil brutality of the terrorists and the children in Gaza. Take a look at this. So here's the truth. Here's the truth. Here's that same Zionist hostage after 2 months of captivity in Gaza, before and after. Ugly here, ugly there. She doesn't look a lot different. Now here is a Palestinian hostage after 3 months of captivity in Israel, before and then 3 months after solitary confinement in Israel, where he was detained without charge, without any suspicion of wrongdoing, and he was clearly starved near to death. Okay? That is real evil. That is real evil. Okay? Now, some other hostages have also spoken out, and I want to share their stories with you because it's really incredible, okay? So, let me show you this. So, not every hostage that comes back from Gaza is just making up ludicrous stories. Some are actually telling some really important truths that you need to hear. For example, take a listen to this woman's story right here. She says, during detention, I told myself many times, I told myself many times that I would die here in the end because of the Israeli missiles and not because of Hamas. That's released Israeli detainee Seher Calderon. That's what she told the New York Times. You can also take a listen to these hostages who had a similar story. We did have a fear. We did have a fear that they would get an order, Israel would get an order, that maybe eventually they'll decide to kill us. And Hamas. We did have a fear that they would get an order, Hamas would get an order, that maybe eventually they'll decide to kill us. And sometimes we would ask them that. They would tell us, we will die before you. We'll die together. Very calming, right? If we die because we're here with you. We were in a supermarket. They put us up for the night in a supermarket, she says. They brought mattresses to the warehouse at the back of the supermarket. And then the next day, the street was shelled. And the supermarket was hit by the shockwave. It was like Congo, in that it comes at you. It was nuts. And it comes at you, and we folded with the mattress over us. And they, our guards, our captives, Hamas, the terrorists are on us, protecting us with their bodies. They lay on top of you from the army shelling because we were very important to them. So that just blows away the whole notion that Hamas wanted to kill these people. No, Hamas is literally jumping on top of them, trying to protect them from the shockwaves of missiles and bombs being launched by Israel near the supermarket where they were being held captive. Okay? They said we were fearful that we were going to get killed by one of these Israeli bombs or a drone attack or a missile or something like that. And the Hamas fighters, our captives, were willing to put their lives willing to put their lives before ours. Fuck. I'm sick. I can't even fucking talk tonight. We're ending the stream in a minute. They were willing to put their lives on the line for the hostages and protect them. And that's not what you hear in the New York Times. That's not what you hear at CNN. That's not what you hear at MSNBC. That's what these people just said. They said that, they were jumping on top of us when the bombs hit to try and protect us. And it just goes to show everything you hear about, Hamas or the hostages or Israel from the mainstream media is a lie because they have a profit incentive to lie. They're funded by the military-industrial complex. They're funded by all these corrupt entities. They're beholden to government interests, and that's why they tell you the lies they do about Israel. All right. On that note, I'm literally out for tonight. I'm sick. I feel terrible. I know it was a short stream. We went for like 45 minutes, but I'll catch you all back here tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. On that note, have a great rest of your night. Again, apologies for the short stream. Apologies for the tech issues. I'll have it fixed tomorrow. But hopefully I feel better tomorrow too, all right? All right, have a good one. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. As always, fuck Dick Cheney. Happy New Year. I'll see you next time. Peace out.
Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people.
They murdered and raped civilians, they executed the elderly at bus stops, and they massacred young people at a festival. They may, it emerged last night, have even beheaded babies.
They found decapitated babies and toddlers.
Israel kills enough of these sons of bitches that this is not a problem again. Whenever anyone suggests that Israel is willfully killing civilians, that is the most ignorant, bigoted, anti-Semitic bull ever said. There cannot be a ceasefire. Anyone who calls for a ceasefire is a terrorist sympathizer under these circumstances.
I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. I never thought I'd ever... Anyway,
Do you care about the babies that were beheaded?
No,
The babies.
they were never beheaded. That was a made-up story.
How do you
It's
know?
not true. It's show me the pictures now.
So what about
Show
19?
me the pictures. You're a lying full of. You're full of.
They bombed hospitals, schools, United Nations facilities, Red Crescent facilities, mosques, churches, civilian homes, evacuee convoys. They're literally bombing everything but Hamas inside of Gaza. And that's because their real effort is to force the Palestinian people out of Gaza and take over that land once and for all. Zelensky is using the Nazi Azov thugs in Ukraine to silence freedom-loving Ukrainians. Joe Biden in the United States, his cronies are prepping the CIA, the FBI, Antifa, the IRS, and now Ministry of Truth to attack freedom-loving Americans.
Demand not one more bullet, not one more tank, not one more piece of artillery, not one more dollar, not one more penny be sent to the Nazis in Ukraine. Demand peace. Thank you all for being here. Continue this energy.